We got some voicemails standing by.
Oh man, I hope we've been accruing for the next little bit here because might as well get it out of the system. This is the last one for 2024.
I've got some soup
and blue hair. We're not going to talk about that. We'll talk about it on the
we
show.
can talk about it. I made some homemade chicken noodle soup with like a chickpea noodle, so it has even more protein than just the chicken.
Nice.
And I did it from scratch. You know, so I boiled the noodles in chicken stock to get them soft, and then I sauteed the vegetables, you know, just onion, celery, carrots, some seasonings, you know, some herbs and spices and whatnot. And then I grilled up the chicken in butter and also seasonings. And then I just put it all together, stirred the fucker up, got it hot. I jarred like 16 jars of this, you know, little pint-sized jars that I keep in the freezer. And I just, whenever I have one, I pop the freezer one down to one of the ones to the fridge, you know, pull the one out and microwave it. It's fucking great. I already feel better. Like, I think I'm sick today. This morning I woke up and my ring was like, oh, you are, your body temperature is rising, your heart rate's high, your breathing's weird.
Yeah, you must have
you
COVID.
might be dying. And I was like, this is silly. And then I got to work and I was like, no, I do think I'm kind of getting sick, but just like a little bit of this soup and I'm already feeling better.
Nice. Man, it's amazing what soup can do, you know, and the right kind of soups. Like,
yeah, this is way better than like a fucking can of Campbell's.
I'm not one who dabbles too much, but when I lived in Vancouver, I used to live near like a Jewish bagel place, and they had a matzah soup, like with the chicken and stuff, and it was like made and like, wow, like that stuff was amazing. It was like Jewish penicillin. It was great. It worked.
You gotta be careful though, because sometimes they put all their sins into the chicken and then you eat it and now you have their sins and so you're guilty.
You know, that explains a lot because I had a hardcore string of bad luck after that. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That was probably anti-Semitic. Who was it? I just posted it. Candace Owens. Candace Owens is the anti-Semite of the year. I cannot believe they skipped over me again. Never win any of these.
I had like awards. 4 people send me that, like, you lost again. Sure, you know, like you lost.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
Well, now that I've thoroughly disgusted everyone by eating on stream.
Well, I mean, technically the show hasn't started, so the ASMR lovers who only listen in audio, they're not going to get that slurping.
Delete this part, Sean. Delete the eating of the soup.
Sean is no more.
Yeah, retired. I was on his last episode. It was a lot of fun.
Wait, you just went back?
No, I called in. I was on Discord. But yeah, we did this guy. Oh, it was fucking bizarre. Maddox went on someone's podcast. This doctor, I think his name was Dr. Joe. And he's like a psychologist, I think, or he's pretending to be a psychologist. And he, I guess, saw Maddox's like weird 3-hour video about how Dick Masterson is a stalker.
Hey, I like that video, by the way. I thought
it's heavy
duty production value, man.
One of
the
like funniest things I've ever seen. A man spending 5 years screenshotting everyone calling him a cuck and a faggot. Only to be like, can you believe they're calling me a cuck and a faggot? But yeah, so this guy interviews him. And so we made it like 20 or 30 minutes into it. But it's funny because about like 10 or 15 minutes on, you can tell both Dr. Joe and Maddox are like thinking about the other person. Oh, this guy's like a fucking idiot. And they're like totally tuned out of each other talking. It was hilarious what we were watching. But yeah,
the one man material generator, eh?
The man's a hero of the internet.
I got it. I had a back and forth with him not that long ago when he put that video out and he put everybody whose name was like associated with Dick. Yeah. And he put like my show name and my real name in there and like on his list. And I emailed him to take it down, and he did. He did take it down. That was fine. But it was funny because he warned me because I had had somebody on my old show, and he warned me about that person, and he was right.
Yeah.
He was right. He was right to warn me about that person. So score one for the Maddox.
Well, we've got some people here watching, so now that we've kind of talked about all the stuff at the beginning, we can hop into doing the show proper. So
I actually have Fernet left in my glass tonight
Ah.
for starters here. It's
hope you're not
yeah,
too thirsty.
all
This is
too
going to be a
pretty.
big one. Everybody buckle up.
Yep. End of the year with a bang.
I think I'm going to do it literally. We have so many microwaves on standby for 4th of July next year. I think I'm going to suggest to
You're gonna blow one up on stream?
not on stream. We're going to just blow it up.
All right.
Tim the Handlebreaker and Truckin' and Tuckin' and I, but we might just do it before New Year's Eve, just because we got
Yeah,
extras
why
at
not?
this point.
Yeah, why not?
All right. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by Soup and Tea. Without soup and tea, I would probably not be doing this episode this evening. Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get. From north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Tab Burke, coming to you live from the most dangerous city in America, St. Louis, Missouri. And joining me from way down south, he is evicting poor, helpless people because he is an evil, corrupt businessman. That's right. It's your friend, your hero, El Chaco.
Oh, la mi enchilada. It's been a few weeks, eh?
It has been a while. It's been like a crazy busy time in my life.
Yeah, this is the world likes to cram as much as possible into December, so that you don't get to rest before Christmas or anything like that. And like you have to somehow figure out like getting the gifts and getting all those things ordered. And like in Canada, there's a strike going on with Canada Post. So the postal service is on strike, just like real kind of them, not demonic at all.
No,
not at all. No. They have their rights. They have their collective bargaining rights. This is what public unions are for, right? Like they're to protect the public, and definitely don't use your monopoly over government subsidized infrastructure to shut things down at probably the most important package delivery time of the year. I mean, Amazon's fine, but screw those small business owners who might want to sell something or
who
send
don't have
something out.
an international logistics division to just get your tchotchke Chinese shit to your house. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, it's been I've still got to figure out a gift for my parents, but otherwise I've had to do everything through Amazon. Yeah, through Amazon. Yeah. That's the way it goes this year.
That's the thing about, everybody's like, we hate these big businesses and Walmart's a super evil company and all this stuff. And then what do we end up doing? We end up just like ordering all this tchotchke junk off of Amazon. I'm guilty of it too. I'm just as much part of the problem.
I wouldn't say all of it's tchotchke stuff. I mean, some of it's like somewhat useful, but I think the hardest is my father-in-law because he's like retired and like doesn't use like gadgets too much. He's into like photography and stuff, but like it's not like we can buy him a new camera. He's got a good camera.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like I used to always like buying people books, and then I realized like nobody reads them. You know what I mean? Like you get somebody a book, and it's like a nice thoughtful gift, and it's like, hey, this you might really like this. And when I read this, I thought you would like this, and I sent it to you. And then nobody reads it. It's kind of the way it goes. But yeah, well, so you go ahead.
They finally stopped counting the votes for the 2024 election.
And the election's finally over.
Let me tell you how bad the voter fraud is. Even my hair got turned blue. I don't even vote.
I'm going to try to refrain from too many Destiny jokes tonight because I don't think that's fair given current events.
I was going for more of a Jack White thing anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. He's also a lib turd.
Yeah. No,
But-
I dyed my hair blue in high school, like 19 years ago. And
oh,
that memory popped into my head unbidden a couple weeks ago. And I was like, I'm an adult man. I work in the arts where no one gives a shit.
go for it.
What would it cost to dye my hair blue again? And I looked on Amazon, to get some more tchotchke shit and to get like bleach and dye and a little thing with like gloves and a dish to stir the shit up. And it was like $25. And I was like, fuck it, let's do it.
Do it. Well, see, this is the thing though. Like I keep thinking, given your size and given you're working out and you're getting muscle tone and stuff like that, you come down here. I'm just gonna basically like leave you at Sully's place and he's gonna train you how to wrestle. We're gonna get you into a match. Yeah, you might as well. You're already bigger than like 3/4 of our roster. So
that would be fun. Yeah, what I almost did. So I dyed it blue on a Thursday night. I got home from work and I dyed it. And then Friday was opening night of a show, and it was the only night of the weekend that I was working. So I went and did the show. I show up with blue hair. Everyone's like, "Oh, wow, your hair is wild." And I was like, "Yeah, it's fun, right?" And then I got home that night and I was like, "Oh, it'd be really funny would be to dye my hair back to its natural color.
Yes.
And show up Monday morning and have people be like, wasn't your hair blue on Friday? And go, what are you talking about? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Man, I wanted to bring gaslighting in for an issue tonight, and I'm still going to probably bring it in for a future thing. But now you're making me rethink it. Maybe it has some value to gaslight people. Like
I came because I would have had all day Saturday and Sunday to go buy a thing at the store, find something that's kind of that same light brown, slightly reddish hair that I have, bleach it back to blonde, put that stuff in there, show up Monday, because Monday was our like company Christmas party, and enough of my coworkers had seen me, but not all of them. So like enough people would be like, wasn't his hair blue on Friday? And they'd be like, I don't know, I wasn't here.
How close to your natural hair color could you get?
I don't know. I'd have to go look. I'd probably get pretty close. I mean, I think I have pretty just generically light brownish hair.
Fair enough. Well, like I haven't had hair for a very long time, like since basically since I was like 30. But I remember dyeing my hair back in the day occasionally. Never blue, never went like that. Never went full blown. I just doing this and that. But I remember trying to unify my beard color because I got like gray and white and black and red and all kinds of stuff in my beard. So I remember I tried to do it once and it looked so stupid. The Just for Men thing, it looked so stupid.
It looked artificial. Like
it looked like somebody had drawn the mustache and beard onto me. And I was like, okay, like I'm not even going to keep this. Like I have to get rid of this. Like, cause I'm not going to grow it out. So there's like roots. I have to get rid of it or keep touching it up. So I don't know how anybody can do that. And at the same time, I've read like horror stories of people leaving it in too long or something. Like it like will literally burn your skin, like bubbles and
it will melt
blisters.
Your hair.
Yeah.
Like it melts the hair follicles if you leave it in too long.
No, so that's a no from me, boss. I'll grow up my big scraggly beard when I want to, but the problem is that here it comes CPAP reference. I can't. If I grow the beard, it messes with the seal on the CPAP. So
yeah,
you guys get to see my my old man gullet coming down now. And the other thing is actually, we were watching a video, my wife and I, and there's this wrestling manager named Paul Heyman, and he used to do the thing where he would shave his beard right at his like chin line, like his jawline.
Yeah. That always looks weird.
It really looks weird. It looks like super artificial. It's like you're trying to make it look like you have a jawline that you don't. Yeah. And I've never done that. I've always just grow the whole thing out, and man, I loved having a beard, but the problem is like down here it gets too hot.
Yeah.
So it gets too hot. So if I do grow it, I grow it in the winter. But and I that's one of those things. Like I might not have all the hair on my head, but I can grow a mean beard. So can you. And like it's a good feeling. Like I know those poor souls out there that like they can't grow the connector or they get little splotches and stuff like. Not a problem for me. Although what ends up happening now is I got white patches
Yeah.
So I start to look like I'm blotchy on the thing, but I can assure you there's
hair
hair
there.
all over the whole thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
Speaking of beards, so last month I was raising money. My friends and I were doing the Mogovember fundraising, and
yeah. How did that
so
go? How did you guys finish?
we didn't get to our final. Our goal was $1,800. We got to 1,400 and some change. I think I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But we donated it. Yeah, it was. We ended up sending in because I guess there's a credit card processing fee, so we added more to cover that. So we ended up donating $1,400, and like
Hey man,
7% of
that's
that or something
admirable. That's
goes
great.
to the credit card processor. But yeah, they actually called us up and asked us why we did it, and made sure that it was being sent to the right department of funding and sent us a nice letter.
Nothing screams confidence of an organization than be like, "Are you sure you want to give to us?"
No, it wasn't so much that. So they have like a bunch of different programs, and so they wanted to make sure that I was like, we want it to go to your specifically men's charity, not any of your other general programs. And so they were like, this is the way you want it. This is the way you want it credited in our I guess their financial statement for the year. And I was like, yeah, that's all sounds great. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we're all talking about doing it again next year. So
good stuff. Well, next year I probably won't get paid after the end of the month like I did this year. I missed your deadline, but
yeah. It was
we'll
it was also funny because like I had sent all the money to my friend Tom. He was like, we all just sent it to him, and then he made the actual donation. But anyway, I had like sent him all the money, and then I got to the glass studio the day we were going to be donating, and I'm in the glass studio, and I'm like, wait a second, one of my pieces is not here. And I went and like pulled up the register and pulled up the transactions from the last few days, and I had a $300 piece sell right at like the Saturday before, Saturday the 30th or 29th of November, whatever it was. And I was like, and I had said that I was going to put 10% of my glass sales into the thing. So I was like, hold on just 1 second. I got to send you this like last
$30
little bit of money.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, that felt really good too, to have that, so that's the most expensive piece I've ever made sell. So that was really cool.
Well, look at you helping out the needy. Whereas I apparently, like you introduced me, am the evil one. To those who aren't in the Discord, who don't follow on those kind of things, I did give an update. I won the case. I read the judge's ruling. There is not a single hole to be poked through in it. It is as clear as day. He even ruled that the other side needs to pay for the court costs. And yeah, I won. And I got to celebrate for like
20
minute and a half. Because then I read in there, because okay, so basically they gave us the ruling, and it said in there that they had to vacate the premises within 10 days, which was more than 10 days ago. And they're still here because they also get 5 days to file an appeal, which they did. And basically, I got to see right afterwards, like I think I mentioned before, there was like this total turd in my community here who wants to be elected mayor someday. So he's like championing this cause, even though he knows he's a lawyer and a police officer. And like he's a suspended police officer and a disbarred lawyer. Like, I mean, doesn't that scream mayor
corruption
to you?
Yeah,
it screams mayor to you. So this guy, there's this group, and it's got hundreds of people in it, and so all the people around me in it. And so he fires this thing out, and he's just like rallying support, and he got like 14 donors to cover the costs. Now here's the funny thing. This is how I know it's just demonic, because he's the one who got them their lawyer, who sucks and was a total bitch the whole time. And I talked to my lawyers, and they warned me. They're like, yeah, it's free for them. It's just like filing a piece of paper to say we're going to appeal, which will buy them time.
Yeah.
Because then basically what will end up happening is that they file the paperwork, and then it takes time to get to accepted by the court. And then the court will then transfer it to a higher court, and then the higher court will then select the judges on top of it. And once they'll tell who the new judges are, then their side will have to make an argument. And their argument, they can't produce any new evidence. They can't do anything new. They have to make a case as to what the judge got wrong.
Mhm.
And the judge's ruling was like, he has the title of the land. It's his. That's it. Like, it's like that's it. It's his land. Go. Wow. That's a revelation.
What a twist.
So it's free to file this paperwork, but they made it sound like they had to raise a bunch of money, which is just going to go to this lawyer who's just going
Yeah.
to put it in her pocket and then file the paperwork for free and then buy them time.
And then
So
they're going to get blasted
Yeah,
out
I'm-
again because they don't own the land.
I'm looking at it like earliest would probably be like mid-February for them to throw it out. But there's a possibility it could go all the way to next October. And that's
sucks.
man, fuck court systems, fuck the law, fuck judges, fuck all of them. But yeah, it's just like, and the weird thing is like every time I look at it, I'm like, every time they give them an extension or time like that, it's like, they're still on my land, right? Like, that's still my land that you have officially ruled is my land. Like, you can't like appeal from another place. No. You're still on my land. You're still burning things. You're still cutting things down. You're still noisy. You're still there. And so it doesn't. So I had like a solid minute and a half to celebrate. And I did shout. I was like, yeah, but like, I did know that there was like,
It's
you
not
just had
over.
that gut feeling it's not over.
Yeah.
And so it's not over. And they're still here. So my Christmas present did not come early. Canada Post is on strike. And this is going to get delayed. And it is what it is. But man, oh man, when it happens, I'm going to videotape the whole thing.
Yeah.
I want to videotape them leaving. I want to video. And I'm not like a cruel person, but it's like, it'll be for the archives. It'll be for me to know I went through this insane amount of time and it's finally over. And once it's over, man, like I got plans for that area. I got, we're thinking of taking some of the Christmas money we have and buying a cow. I think we're going to buy a cow. And so I'm going to put it like a little shelter for the cow in that area. And, because I want to get on this cow thing. Because have you heard about this thing called Boaver?
No.
So it's this new chemical. Bill Gates is behind it, of course. Maybe he's not, but he supports this thing because there's this canard where people think that like cow farts are going to cause the biblical apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
And so they made this thing called Boaver, I don't know, but it is basically a suppressant of cow farts. And here's the thing about like cow methane is that like after a few years, it just turns into carbon dioxide, which is just fuel for plants and stuff like that. So you're putting that in there. But the weird thing about this Boaver is that if you look into it, it's like, yeah, you did miss the CPAP update, Captain Carl. If you look into the safety data on it, they're like, don't have it be in contact with human skin, massive fertility risk, all these kind of things that will like, and they say, oh, it won't get passed on to humans. I'm like, yeah, like you guys tested that.
They do
like,
not
you
understand
guys make
second order
sure.
consequences at all.
It's so insane. So yeah, so I want to get a cow. I wanted these people on my land so bad. I want them off my land. But what are you doing for Christmas? Are you having people over? Are you doing?
No, I'm having the Christmas that I always want, which is just some goddamn peace and quiet. Just sit quietly in my home and be left alone.
That GD. Yeah, for us, like I said it before, it doesn't feel like Christmas here. And
because it's hot. Because it's like the hot,
not
sweaty
snowy.
ball sack of summer for you right now.
Yeah, and then there's this thing that they like. One of their Christmas traditions is this thing called Florida cocoa, like coconut flour, and it's like these big pods that fall off of like the mini coconut trees, and they put off this fragrance, and it smells amazing. I'm just really allergic to it, apparently.
Oh,
And like I remember figuring that out. Like we bought one off of some street vendor, put it in the house because you go into like doctors' offices and like corporate offices, and they'd have one in the lobby, and it's like, man, that smells so good. And so we put one in my house, and I was just like stuffed up, sneezing all over the place, and then we got rid of it as a test, and then sure enough, it went away. But here's the thing. I've got the source of those things all over my property. So at nighttime, I catch a waft of it because all the pollen of it is just coming off. And I'm like, it smells great. But Cap and Carl, I won't be able to breathe properly through my nose, through my CPAP whenever this season hits. So yeah, it's brutal. But yeah, no, we're going to actually have Sully over for Christmas. My friend Simon is going to come. My wife's making Swedish meatballs ahead of time because we're going to do the midnight mass in Asuncion. So it starts at 11. It goes over midnight. So I'll be driving home between like 1 and 3 in the morning on Christmas, I guess Christmas morning. And then, we'll have to figure out how to do the whole, put the gifts out and get everything ready ahead of time. And then we're just going to be so zonked. So my wife was like, we'll do the turkey on Boxing Day or on December 26th. And she's going to pre-make the Swedish meatballs so we can have that on Christmas dinner. And then we'll have our turkey, which is, again, my favorite meal of the entire year is turkey meals. I love it so much. So we'll have that on the 26th. And I really am hoping that my clients won't do to me what they did to me last year, which is immediately start showering me with work to do in the week between Christmas and New Year's. Christmas and New Year's, that should be unsaid. It should just be like I shouldn't have to officially
say
you
to come into work. Nothing's really going on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's oh, by the way, Cap and Carl asks, Mexicans around me like to shoot off fireworks at midnight on Christmas. Do they do that down there? Yeah, they do. They fire off fireworks, and then on New Year's they fire off guns into the sky. So it's like, I mean, the odds of getting hit by a projectile are not that high, but like it's happened.
Yeah,
it's happened. There was a girl that died from getting hit by a stray bullet down here like a few years ago. So it's like, guys, cool it. But oh well. Shall we start jumping into
some issues?
Yeah. Did you want to go first this week with your?
Yeah. So we're gonna do a little bit of a different thing this time. We're gonna do some mini issues here at the top of the show. Well, I'm gonna do a format
swap
change.
it around.
It's our show. Go to hell.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't get. Pet parents. I'm back trying to date people on the apps and whatnot, and holy shit, do I hate the state of human beings around me. These liberal white women with their eggs drying up in their early 30s or their mid 30s or their late 20s, who instead of like giving into their natural biological urge to have settle down, have a family, and get children, are instead like so invested in being a boss bitch lady running her Fortune 500 company, but they still like have this thing inside of them that needs to like care and nurture for something. So what do? Yeah. They get a dog or a cat, and then they're like, this is my fur baby. This is my child. This is my son. And it's like, I have 2 cats. I love my cats. I would not, trade my cats for anything. They're great. But you know what they are? They're pets. They're not my best friends. I am not their parent. I cannot fucking stand when I take them to the vet and the vet person is like, oh, it's okay. Daddy's here. Like, Daddy's not here. I don't know where Dad is. I assume he's dead in a field somewhere. I am his owner.
Dead in a field somewhere.
I have no idea who his father was. We went on Maury, couldn't find him. And it's just like it's so annoying, and like you can't explain this to them. You can't explain like what is happening to you is that your body knows that motherhood is your purpose,
Mm,
and you are trying to psychologically trick yourself out of, you know, creating a relationship with another human being because you have this like warped sense of reality based on what television and the social media has been telling you for the last 30 years about how men and women are equal and equal opportunity, and like you can be a boss and you should be able to work and stuff. And it's just like you look and that like men are not good enough for you and you shouldn't have to compromise on anything at all, and everything should feel like the 4th of July the first time you see someone, and blah 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 blah
I
blah.
think that's your major qualifier too. Because I have no problem with pet owners. I have no problem with enthusiastic pet owners. I have no problem with people like who are perpetual pet owners. But I see where you're going with it's the psychological substitution
Yeah.
that is a problem. It's the people because like you brought up about because you're in the dating field, but like there's like the whole child free movement, and you see
Yeah.
that on like Reddit and stuff. You see these like dysgenic couples that
Dink, dual income, no
yeah,
kids. Yeah.
and I get it. Yes, you have disposable income, and good for you, and it's great. I have nothing against you on that. However, it's when they like full blown, like they get a vasectomy, they get a hysterectomy, like they get their tubes tied, they do everything, and then they do the little bait and switch and substitute, and then they start doing things like inviting people over to their house
Mhm.
for like their fur baby birthday, and
Oh, yeah.
like these gotcha days, and I don't know.
I mean, I'm guilty of that too. If when I remember, I'll usually post on Instagram. I'll post a couple pictures of my cats, and you know, I got one on February 4th. I got Reacher on February 4th. You know, and like I don't know, 6 years ago now or something. And I got Odo 2 years ago on November 3rd. And so
Again,
when I remember, I'll post a couple pictures of them and like you know, here's my cute cats. Had them for a few years now, healthy and having fun. Post.
I have no
Yeah.
problem with pet owners, enthusiastic pet owners, loving pet owners, caring pet owners. I like pets. I have plenty of pets. I've had plenty of pets over my life. I have no problem with that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is a little bit weird. It is, I don't know. I've just never felt comfortable with the whole like pet daddy,
Yes.
pet parent idea. It's just, I get it. Like some people, it's a cute thing for them, but when it becomes your identity, that's also a real big problem.
Yeah,
It's
and
it's
that's
just a
the
little
same
bit
thing
too
with like
much.
the dual income, no kid people. That I like. Oh yeah, we go on vacation all the time. We spent 6 weeks in Europe, and we went to Japan, and we did this, and it's like that's cool and all, but like you do realize you're trying to fill a hole with like something that's inherently unfulfilling. You know?
Well, and like again, like let's say it's a cope. Let's say like you're sterile, like you're unable to have kids, which is a thing, and like a
Yeah.
lot of people have that, and like it's a real slap in the face. It's a real slap in the face if you're trying. But if you made this conscious decision to say no, to
Yeah.
say that you're not going to have any on purpose, and then like the other thing that always digs me on that is like not that they're anti having children,
They're just
but
anti-children.
they're
on the
anti
whole.
children in general.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like pump the brakes for a second. Like you were raised by somebody, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's like, what took place over the course of your life to get you to this point where you hate youth and you hate,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And I get it. Like, if you're surrounded by a bunch of people who can't parent, don't parent, you know, if you, I'll give it to you. If you're like, if you've been inundated with just bad child management, I don't know, I'm trying to look for the best word for that, but bad parenting.
Yeah.
I give it to you, but like at the same time, like to outright hate children, it's like all children, dude. There are tons of breeds of dogs that I can't stand. Do I hate dogs? Absolutely not.
No,
Yeah,
I hate
absolutely
I
not.
hate bad pet owners that create shitty dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I my hot like it's not even a hot take, but I was like, if somebody said all pit bulls will be euthanized, I'm like, yeah, I'll contribute to that. I'll grow a mustache for that next year. I can't stand pit bulls. I hate
Yeah.
pit bulls. But like my employee has like 3 of them, right? What am I supposed to do? Is like, all right, if you're going to stay employed, here's your conditions.
Well, some employers do that.
Yeah, but
To wrap up, like I'm 100% with you on the difference between something happening in your life where it's not possible versus making this decision and choosing to like
that's the
you've just
main
thrown
thing.
away all these relationships for whatever like small petty reason over the years, and now you're gonna just invest your thing. Because the difference between like a child, what really makes a child, right, is you raise a child, you teach them everything you know, they learn from other places, and they become this like fully alone adult human being. And
Mhm.
then when you're older and you have your disagreements, things go back and forth. But when you're older, it's someone that, if you do a good job, still cares about you. And when your life then gets tough, when you're on that downward slope, the child's there for you. Your dog or your cat, and when you get sick, I mean, they love you absolutely,
Yeah,
but
but
they're
if you
not going to
die,
be
your
able to do
cat's
anything to
eating your
care for you.
face. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you die,
and so
you're
you're like choosing this other path that is antithetical to what your body wants and what like our whole society and physiological conditioning has been for thousands of years now, in order to like to win and be contrary to the world, and then congratulate yourself with a sense of smugness about it. And I kind of can't stand these people anymore. Like, I want to find a person that's like, I want to have a family and children and like live a real life that we have been doing as a species for thousands of years, and that's what makes us.
that got us here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a
But yeah.
great topic and a great issue. And I'm with you on that. I don't envy you to be in the dating pool at this stage of human history.
Yeah,
I
pretty much
think
was.
I actually, shall I use that as a bridge into, I guess, my long topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Here's what I don't get: cultural Rorschach tests. Now, you know what a Rorschach test is?
Yeah, it's where they put up
Okay.
those blotches
Yeah, and
and you
it's like,
say,
what do you
I hate my
see?
mother.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I see just a bunch of penises. It's like, well, I have something to tell you beyond your blue hair.
Batman. I see Batman. I see Batman spreading his wings. I see Batman. I see Batman's symbol on his chest.
One of these, so cultural Rorschach tests are when a thing happens in the culture and the way people react to it tells you so much about them, right? It tells you so much about them. So the one that is recent here, and this will date the show. I'm going to 100% date the show by making this mention, but I'll come up with other examples which will lessen the dating of the show. But there's this meme. It's already crescendoed, but it was the wife jack meme. Have you seen
Yeah.
the wife jack
Yeah.
meme? I love the wife jack meme.
I did
I
too.
unabashedly love the wife jack meme. I think it's so great. I've actually made some. I think they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
I thought it was a great, like, it's a great way that, kind of explaining the difference between men and women and the way we like approach problems. And yeah.
Actually, like, just to kind of talk about that one a little bit. So I haven't really been following Sargon of Akkad for much, but like he's got his Lotus Eaters podcast. And to research for the show, I came across his take on the wife jack meme, and it's impressive. Because basically, like, the core of the wife jack meme is it's your wife who looks at the world in a different way than you and says things and makes observations in a way that you don't see, but you love her anyway because of the way that she does that. You just you love her because of the way she does that.
I saw one.
And
The one that I really liked was it was someone watching Star Trek, and it's her. She's on her phone, and she looks up. And the quote was, "Is this Star Wars?" And uh, I so I felt I really identified that one because I was dating someone, and they were out of town, and they bought me this piece of art, this piece of like wall art, because we had been talking, and I was like, I whenever I'm out places, if I find a piece of art that I like to get it and frame it up. So what she got me was this like really cool Art Deco style thing, but it was Star Wars ships, and I fucking hate Star
it's
Wars.
wonderful. It's so beautiful.
But I went and put it up on the wall, and I was like, I like the thought and the intent behind it, and I like the style of art, but I do hate Star Wars. And then my friends would come over, and they're like, "Why do you have a Star Wars poster on the wall? Don't you hate Star Wars?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't really have the heart to explain it."
But that's so Sargon made this point, and he said that at its core, you're seeing these musings of Wife Jack and these ways she sees the world, and it identifies not only the differences between husbands and wives, but like, do you remember the Roman Empire meme?
Yes. How often does your boyfriend or husband think about the Roman Empire? Yeah.
So like they tried to shoehorn in the bear in the woods meme for women.
Yeah.
But the Roman Empire one, that's a real one. I do think about the Roman Empire. I don't like ruminate on it, but it comes up in my head enough times to be like, yeah. Like, and Sargon brought it up, and he pointed it out in this really interesting way. And it was that, so for example, I drive our family everywhere. Not like my wife will take the kids and go into town and do all that kind of stuff. But when we're going on a long trip, I'm the driver. Right. And when I'm the driver, my head is on a swivel. I'm always processing the road. Who's coming from where? Who's coming from this and that? And whereas the passenger has other things going on in their head while that is going down. Right. And again, it's not a knock. It's not a knock on women who have different things to think about, just because
our brains are different. That's why we're different genders. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know for a fact that I'm working on external. It's all about external and internal. And I don't want to get too hyped up on the Wife Jack thing, because I want to move on to why I brought it in as an issue. But it's this idea that men, because your wife is your partner, she is the in many cases the mother of your children. She is the homemaker. She'll cook the meals. She meal plans. She like, her world has structure, but it's not my structure. And I love that difference. I love this meme to me was as good a meme, actually better, still better than the new guy meme that came in at the very beginning of, I think, 2020.
Yeah.
Right. I love the new guy meme. The new guy meme was, I remember when the new guy meme came in, and I was like, 2020 is going to be a good year. I think we're on the right track. And then it ended up being just the freaking worst. But like, like, you have these different thoughts and opinions on things, like, and it's just like little quirks and stuff. Like, we were watching a show, and there was a guy who came on the screen, and his name came up on the screen, and his name was Todd. Right? His name was Todd. But his name was spelled T-O-D. Yeah. Right? Just T-O-D. And now I've seen Todd spelled that way. It's not common, but I've seen it. And she makes a comment. Mrs. Chaco makes the comment. She goes, something ain't right about that. Is that how it's always spelled? It just feels wrong. I'm like, you're correct. I mean, this is the rarer spelling of it. She's like, how is Todd spelled? She goes, is it T-O-O-D? And I just started laughing. And like, I know that she, like, I know where her brain was, because she knows it's T-O-D-D, but like, just where her thing was on it at the time, I thought it was
like
adorable.
when you're trying
Right?
to select a font for something, and so you've got
Yeah.
that word highlighted, and you're just clicking through fonts, and you're like, "Is this really the way plate is spelled? There's no way this is the way plate is spelled."
Exactly.
I
And
don't think I've ever seen this word in my life.
so why I brought it in as a cultural Rorschach test is because what I thought was a wholesome, wonderful thank you for giving us a good meme. And like again, like they brought it up as well. It's a callback to men loving their wives and wives loving their husbands. It's a rejection of the boomer meme of the husband hating his wife, which has been in television for years. Like
Forever.
I grew up with like, Married with Children,
Yeah.
just the whole, and then even before that, like Honeymooners, like Bang Zoom to the Moon, Allison, all this kind of stuff, like this like just this pitting of each other against each other. And it feels like something weird happened with the wife Jack meme because it was kind of breaking the algorithms,
Mhm.
because most of the algorithms are designed to hate each other, like just pitting a gender war against each other. But then something happened. People started freaking out about this thing. Now, some women really enjoyed it. Some women really enjoyed it. They're like, actually, yeah, this okay. I feel like I'm being called out. But like in a good way. The radical feminists, they hated it because they thought
That's why
Wife
I
Jack
hated
was
it.
an othering of women. Yeah, of course, because you got the
As,
blue
as
hair.
the local radical
As-
feminists.
As our resident Destiny. They hated it because they thought it was an othering of women, and it was 100% male point of view. And then this strange thing happened when Nick Fuentes and the Groypers joined in, and Andrew Tate, who's a piece of crap,
Mhm.
they joined in, and they saw it as these men are simps for their wives. They are totally longhouse men. They're browbeaten. They're total wimps, and they're just worshiping their wives. And you couldn't be any further from the truth. And it's one of those things where it's like you either get it or you don't. But like, what's weird is this Rorschach test of this cute little redhead in a gray oversized sweater on the screen comes up saying something silly or fun or relatable, and they're just hating on women. Like their mask comes straight off.
Yeah.
And it's like with Nick Fuentes is like, bro, I thought you were supposed to be some Catholic guy. I thought you were supposed to be like pushing for Catholics and your white nationalism and all this kind of stuff. And yet here you are, and you're hating on like wives. Like, don't you? I get it that you're mostly going to be followed by guys without them, but like you're really stamping down on a lot of people. And this isn't the first cultural Rorschach test. There are plenty of these. You bring up January, the 6th day of the year, to people, and some people still freak out about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I watched that thing live. I watched it on multiple feeds, multiple monitors in my house. I watched the whole thing. It was wild, but not in that way.
Yeah.
It was wild, but not in that way, not in a democracy's going to die kind of way. You get the same thing with October 7th. You get the same thing with you remember the Covington kids, the Covington Catholic kids? I remember when that came out and people were exploding all over social media about it. I watched the video
in this guy's face, and it's like he's
yelling in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's this weird thing, like the whole good people on both sides, even just like political leaders. If you bring up Putin to somebody, they freak out, or they take a massive stance, or Gaddafi or Assad or all these other ones. And you're just like, hang on, like what can we pump the brakes here? Like, why are you so upset about it? Now, I guess to try to be self-reflective, I have to wonder how many times have I freaked out about something that is completely normal to somebody else, and what is my cultural Rorschach test that is calling me out. But are there ones that you can think of
one that I can think of most recently is so this one's been going around, and I commented on it a few times, and now I'm just letting it go. But So on one of the new Star Trek animated series that are on CBS All Access, they did an episode and they made Garrick and Dr. Bashir from Deep Space Nine a gay couple. And they're posting these images and they're getting all these like hate things. And it's obviously meant to just demoralize you and get you to advertise about the show for free.
Mm-hmm.
But there were like two reactions in there, and you could like scroll through Twitter and see if they had a flag in the bio, a gay flag in the bio, or a trans flag in the bio. They're like, "Oh my God, yes, finally this! I've been waiting 30 years to see this." And it's like your like personality and culture is in such a way that you can't imagine a male friendship that isn't inherently homosexual.
Well, and again, that's the Rorschach test, right? Exactly. Because the thing is like Nick Fuentes. He sees. Go ahead.
So, like for me, looking at that, when I see that image, my first thought was not
they're gay.
Oh, they're gay, or
buddies.
I'm glad to see this. No, the first thing that my eye was drawn to in that image is that Garrick is in a Starfleet uniform for some reason, and he has a higher rank than Julian. And I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to the character. And like, that's because my Rorschach on it is to look at it through the lens of what is actually Star Trek, and not like, I don't give a shit if you want to make him gay. It's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But like, that's not what I want to see. And so I see these, and so there were people that were like pointing that out, and then there were people that are arguing on behalf of it to be like, it's an alternate timeline, and it's a this and a that. But it was just amazing. Like every single one of them, if they had a gay flag or a trans flag in the bio, it was like, yes, I've been waiting to see this for so long. And it's like that, everything in your life is through that lens. Every single thing is through that lens. You'll never see anything other than that lens.
And like, I really like people to see reality for what it is. And the reason why the wife Jack meme spurred a bunch of people is because they have this unrealistic expectation on what marriage is. I'm going to put this on this. So just say it, Chaco. Doesn't matter how much you love her, you still want to murder her. Not at all. I think we got married in 2010. I met my wife in 2008. We have not had a single true argument. Like we've had disagreements, but we've never yelled at each other. We've never fought. And okay, is that rare? I don't know. Because I know that are you considered a millennial generation? Is that technically? Okay. Yeah. So, and I'm at the tail end of Gen X so much so that they've got this term Zennial, and it fits me a lot more than the Gen Xers. But, my parents were married at 20 and 21 years old, and I could probably say over the course of my lifetime, I probably maybe witnessed them argue less than 5 times. Like less than 5 times, and nothing brutal, nothing bad, nothing like cutting, nothing like you can't take that back kind of things. Like it was just disagreements on things, and like in periods of stress, and I applaud them for that. And so my wife and I, we don't fight. We just don't, because we're on the same team. Like, what would be the purpose of fighting? We're on the same team. And I think that the reason why I thought that this meme was so good is, again, because it broke through the algorithm. The algorithm is there to pit you against each other. And there's this thing that comes up and says, no, marriage is good. No, having kids is great. And it's like, yeah, it's not like all the whole, like they're digs, but they're not mean digs. They're just like kind of like quirky digs. And I
think another good one recently is the Luigi Mangione thing, right? Where they wanted to make it like
absolutely
the left is glorifying this violence and the right is all about law and order, but it became down to like, no, you rich motherfuckers running your miserable companies that want to kill us all deserve to be shot in the back in broad daylight. And that was one where I kept seeing things trying to push the algorithm where it's like the left is all about this violence. The left is all about this violence. I'm like, no, this is pretty universal. People are kind of on this guy's side and
It's
understand where he's
nuanced.
coming from.
It's nuanced, right? Like it's
Yeah.
nuanced. Like if there's no justice, then do you have to go get it yourself? Then you peel back a couple more layers and it's like he's gay. He's 5'6". He's, you know, he comes from a wealthy family. Like you could pick that apart all you want. Pick it apart all you want. The fact of the matter is that the system failed him and his family to the point that he snapped.
Yeah.
Right?
And
now he's going to have to face what is going to come from that. You know what the system is. You know exactly what you're doing. You had that shooting in Madison, Wisconsin that just happened like yesterday.
Yeah.
And again, like it's like, man, these people are being programmed. Like we're in a time of madness. We're in an absolute time of madness. And there is no, like you keep searching for stable ground to walk on and it keeps doing that. Remember Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and he comes into that one spot and he has to
the name
across the name, and there's no J in the Hebrew alphabet or whatever, and so he has to step on the I for Jesus. But like it's like that. Like people are searching for that stable ground to walk on, and they're not finding it. And you're not going to find it in an algorithm, and you're not going to find it on TV, and you're not going to find it in movies, and you're kind of not going to find it in most books, right? Like you're going to have to find it in your heart. You're going to have to find it in your soul. You have to get your own shit together. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Jordan Peterson, but at the beginning, when he first came on the scene, it was like, yeah, like you can't go and fix the world until you have figured out your own problems and dealt with it ahead of time. Like it's that whole thing. Like I'm a Catholic and I go to confession regularly. And when I go to confession, I'm working on myself. I'm working on what I am as a person, what my soul is projecting out into the world. And I'm working on that on a regular basis. But the thing is that then you go and you talk to somebody who's not a Catholic, and there's another Rorschach test, which is, whoa, confession, like to some man, and like aren't Catholic priests a bunch of pedophiles? Like, whoa, and you just go off onto this algorithmic tangent of why this isn't going to work. And I'm like, hang on, no, this is something that has been steady for 2,000 years. And I'm looking for that stable ground, and I need to walk on stable ground. And I even have it in the Catholic Church where I'm looking at a new mass. I'm going, no, this ain't it. this ain't it. This has been changed. This is not it. And you know it when you see it. And so, yeah, I don't, when they arise, and you'll see a cultural Rorschach test come up, every so often. I mean, everything comes around more faster now than ever. But like if you search back in your head and you look at it and it's like, how did somebody see when this person won? Like, okay, it's like Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on a stage. Okay. What? And then he won the Academy Award later on in the evening. And okay, everybody, react to this. What is your take on this? And it's like, he acted like an idiot.
I could not possibly care less about these celebrities and their.
No, I get it, but I mean,
but that is also that's also a part of it, right? Is like, are you people that are tied into the celebrity culture and what's on entertainment tonight, and people that are just like, these people's lives don't affect me in the slightest. Why would I ever possibly care?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it's okay. So you can look at it and you'd be like, okay, as a husband, if somebody insulted my wife on a grand stage such as that, how would you react? And it's like, he got up and he slapped him because he knew he could. And like, did he get charged? No. Did anything happen out of it? Not really. You don't see him in many movies anymore. But
you hadn't really seen him in many movies prior to that too.
Well, he's not the draw that he used to be.
No.
So he's not the draw that he used to be. But it's really weird. Like again, like okay, here's another one that just came out. Sydney Sweeney, right?
Mhm.
Sydney Sweeney, this actress. And I have never seen a Sydney Sweeney movie, but I know who she is because everybody talks about her large cans.
Yeah.
And the thing is like in a prior time period, they're large, but they're not like Dolly Parton. You know, they're
Oh, there's nobody like Dolly.
not
There's
anybody like
nobody.
Dolly. Rhinestone. There we go. There we go. Rhinestone. But
I'm getting hot just thinking about it.
what is Jolene packing? That's what I gotta wonder, you know. But the thing is that so
I
here
think that's another. Are you talking about
well,
when she showed
the
up?
Rorschach text was like there were some candid photos of her in a bikini that came out, and there was some idiot that again follows with this Groyper crowd who was like, you know, this should be illegal for all the like, and it's like a rant against makeup and lighting, and it's like, I didn't think she looked that bad. Like, I
know that already. You didn't A, know that already, and B, like she's still probably, you know, in a high percentage of attractive women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna joke and say that she's a 6? Come on now, like, just like,
yeah,
get over yourself. So anyway,
it's like you've never met a woman because they.
Well, there's
like,
the Rorschach test.
This stuff, but you know, the difference between like appearing on a red carpet and suntanning on your back patio or wherever the fuck she was, like, yeah, it's the difference between like, you know, when I sit down in my chair and my gut kind of sticks out, but when I stand up and it all stretches back out, it's like I'm not actually as fat as I look sitting in this chair.
Or like on Seinfeld when George, he was like, I was in the pool. You know, like,
yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's like you see these things, you see these visceral reactions to them. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's the same as like the Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely and George Floyd,
Derek Chauvin, and
yeah, it's like I watched the video. I'm like, that you wanted to blow the world up over that? Like, I've seen that restraint before. What are you talking about? This is
well, they're the people on the with Daniel Penny now who are like, you know, he choked him out, and it's like there are 2 other people holding him down in that video, and those 2 guys weren't charged and are also not white.
He was alive while he was in police custody and the station. So again, like, I don't. Anyways, so that's my issue. Do you see where I'm going with this? All right.
Yeah, I'm totally on board.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, great.
We'll close that one up.
That brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for the Unemployed News Network. That's right. We all got laid off of our gaming journalism jobs, so now we're trying to get back into regular news, but those companies are also going out of business. Time to stretch my legs. Fuck you, Ring. I don't have to do nothing. I hate digital devices.
After the news, I got to take a water fill break because I forgot to fill up my anything. I've got a dry mouth here, so we'll work through these news items.
Sounds good. So there are some neo-Nazi statues showing up, surprisingly, in DC.
Shock horror.
Of course, you know, these neo. What would you think is a neo-Nazi statue?
It's probably, I don't know. It's probably somebody harmless, like the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. What's his name? The actor from
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, it's probably just like Chris Pratt or something.
Yeah, I would think that it would be something like, I don't know, literally Hitler or something like that. No, this one is the sculpture is a bronze statue of a giant shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
That's the neo-Nazi thing.
That is a neo-Nazi piece of art, apparently. And like, again, cultural Rorschach. Shouldn't we all be fans of shit on public employees' desks, especially someone like Nancy Pelosi, who's used her position over the decades and decades that she's been a public servant to steal and make herself rich in the stock market? Did you know that just before, you know, just like 6 months ago, the United Healthcare CEO called Nancy Pelosi and told her about this new drug they were going to be buying, and then she bought into it and made about $7 million in stock trading. And then the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was about to be testifying about that fact in court in a few weeks. Did you know about that?
No,
Isn't that
I
kind
didn't.
of
know.
weird? Isn't that
a
kind
little
of weird? Your
weird.
cultural Rorschach?
That's a little
Yeah.
weird. See, because like when you said a neo-Nazi thing, I was also thinking of like a badly drawn swastika that was clearly not drawn by a Nazi, because anybody who is a Nazi knows how to draw one. Whereas for whatever reason, when somebody is trying to fake one, they never seem to know how to draw one when it's quite simple. Just draw an X and then draw a couple of feet on the outer portions.
The other one is a tiki torch statue that's kind of near the White House. You're not
is there? Yeah, I can. I mean, I
stream.
can imagine it. Don't they have a mosquito problem there or something? Maybe that's where, you know.
Yeah.
Like
the bronze-colored statue depicts a fist clutching a tiki torch, and the plaque says, "This monument pays tribute to President Donald Trump and the very fine people he boldly stood to defend when they marched against Charlottesville."
You know it's a fake. Then you know that it's like. You know all of these are fakes. All of these are.
It's all fake and gay.
This is the thing, man. Like all these times where the call out, for example, like 4chan poll or all these other things, and they say, oh, you know, they're banding together and they're doing underground things, and they're going to go and ruin. They're going to go and siege this other place, and I'm like, dude, I'm all around that stuff, and I've never seen a single thing like that ever. Like, so it must be made up. It must be COINTELPRO or something like that. But it's also tiresome. It's also tiresome.
It is very tiresome. It's crazy to think that, you know, we can't all unite on the fact that our politicians are evil and should be in fucking prison cells.
Exactly. Should we move?
Yeah. So I got another one here.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah, you got two and I got two. So let's go one back and forth.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is man uses lottery winnings to buy another ticket and wins $3 million. Nice. Kentucky man who won $40 from a lottery ticket used his winnings to buy another ticket that earned him a $3 million prize. The Radcliffe man told Kentucky lottery officials he was feeling lucky after winning 40 from a ticket, so he used 30 of his prize money to buy a break Fort Knox scratch-off ticket from the Elizabethtown Kroger store. And yeah, I started scratching off the amount and saw the skinny dollar sign and then the three, and I about passed out. The man said I had to do a double take, triple take. I pulled up the app and scanned it. It said, "Congratulations, you won $3 million. Claim at KLC." That's when it got real. Hey, man, you know what? Not all of our news is bad. That's awesome, man. Double down, man. Let it roll.
I'll take 3 million scratchers, please.
I saw a video where there was a guy who had won a ticket, and then like the news took him to go like shoot B-roll and like went back to like the store that he got it from, and he bought another ticket and he ended up winning again. Like it was either the same amount or more. It's phenomenal. I love that stuff. Those kind of things are like glitch in the matrix stuff that, you know, make you smile. That's my Rorschach test on that, is like, that good for that guy, instead of like, screw him, he's probably rigged, he's probably some old white guy, he probably knows somebody.
I just assume it's like they live, and so he's sold out of being a poor person. He's going to be one of the rich elites with the watch.
Oh yeah, he'll rat you out and feed you to the reptilians that feed off your blood. All right, what do you got next?
Right. I've got one here. So I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago now. You had that whole saga of your van that had to get you had to go repossess that van.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this in Britain, someone else had a similar situation. The police, a British chef, appealed to thieves to return 2,500 pies that were in a stolen van, and the police did finally find the van abandoned, but the pies were beyond recognition and unable to be eaten.
No, did they?
Tommy Banks, who owns 2 Michelin-star restaurants and a pub in the North English country of Yorkshire, said a member of staff discovered the van missing along with its cargo of steak and ale, turkey, and butternut squash pies intended for a Christmas market. The food has been valued at £25,000. So that's
probably worth more than the van. Yeah,
$10 a pie. Banks said the van was insured, but he implored the vehicle thieves not to let the food go to waste, suggesting they do the right thing and drop the pies at the community center. And you know, so these people, they stole a van, they ruined everyone's Christmas. Nobody's getting pies, but they're just poor. I'm sure they're like poor, disenfranchised youth,
socioeconomic factors.
Purely socioeconomic factors. Has nothing to do with like some policies that England has about what you're allowed to say about certain people and what you're not allowed to say, and who they're bringing in to supplement the indigenous population.
Well, they only found the van because it tweeted about immigration. And it tweeted about immigration saying maybe this isn't a good idea, and then it was like, you got a license for that tweet. All right, martial artists break dangerous record involving cucumber, chainsaw, and a blindfold. Members of an Indian martial arts collective broke a bizarre Guinness World Record: most slices of a cucumber held in a person's mouth with a chainsaw while blindfolded in 1 minute. So here's the thing: they broke the record, which means someone prior to that had set the record.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember.
Why are they allowing this stuff?
Do you remember? You remember my old show, Hot Choco?
Yeah.
And I actually have a real friend who works for Guinness World Records. Like, he was the South America rep. So anytime like a new record would get broken, he would have to go and observe it and then like go through this like formal process and then award them with it, afterwards. And then think about good Guinness World Records. Like, did you get those books when you were a kid? Like
I don't think I ever like got one personally, but I remember friends having them and like fiddling through.
Yeah, it was like a good like throw-in Christmas gift, right?
Yeah,
and they were like, they were meaty, but like I don't even think they can print it now, because like if you've got records like this, that's gonna eat up enough of the page, and like that's not the only record really. So the record was successfully achieved with 71 slices in 1 minute, and no one was injured during the attempt. Now, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that is impressive in 1 minute. So the guy's holding the cucumber in his mouth, not gay, and the other guy is slicing away with a chainsaw and got it 71 times without the other person
getting his face cut off.
Yeah. So basically a video shared by Guinness World Records on social media shows a member of the Bir Khalsa martial arts collective donning a blindfold and wielding an the chainsaw guy was blindfolded. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wielding an electric chainsaw on the set of the record keeping organization's Italian TV series Lo Show Dei Record. Another member of the martial arts group holds a cucumber in his mouth while the blindfolded man slices it, and a third member replaces the cucumber whenever it is cut down to the holder's lips. 71 slices in 1 minute. That's amazing. That's like more than one per second.
You guys need to get real jobs.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So
you guys should be in call centers trying to steal people's Social Security checks, not out there chopping cucumbers.
Do not redeem. Sar.
No.
And on that note, that is the news.
The Unemployed News Network. Hopefully we'll get jobs at doing some coding. We're going to learn to code. All right, break time?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to fill this up.
Cool, we'll be right back. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
get what you needed to accomplish accomplished?
Yeah, I just went to the bathroom.
So did I. I was just gonna fill my water, but then that thing where running water happens. I was like, all right, I gotta go. And you've seen how wild my my deck is outside of my office with like last time we finished our show, I
Oh, yeah.
sent you a video of like the bird nest, the frog. And I went I want to go and actually just pee off the deck because I can. But I realized also too, I got my security camera up there, so I wanted to go up close underneath it, so I'm not on camera, just in case, I don't know, something happens and I have to submit my stuff to the authorities and be like, yeah, don't pay attention between 10:15 and 10:20 at my office here because I don't need you seeing that. And while I did that, the biggest fucking moth, like the biggest. We've got big moths here, but like I'm talking like size of my head moth came up behind me. I'm a little jilted by that. Let's see how this goes. So did you want to go with your long issue or my short issue?
We can go either way.
What is the audience want? Let's see what the audience wants. Give me a comment. First comment wins.
I guess while we wait on that. So while that takes care of our news segment this week, it does not take care of saying thank you to all of the supporters and listeners to this show over the years. Here's What I Don't Get would not still exist without all of your generous contributions over the years and even still listening these days. So thank you so much for being a part of this show and listening to us for more than 8 years, 368 episodes. Somewhere north of like 2,000 issues. I think I should have pulled that number up. So we got an answer for long. We'll jump in. So here's what I don't get. People who don't understand rights. A lot of stuff coming up these days about so with the United Healthcare CEO being killed, people are talking about how healthcare should be a right provided by the government, blah, 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 blah. And this meme got posted of the guy from The Office, and it says, if it requires someone else's labor, it's not a human right.
Well, that's Parks and Rec, isn't that? That's Parks and Rec, right?
Or whichever one. Yeah, it's just like a guy pointing at a whiteboard.
Yeah, it's not a right.
So I'm in the comments seeing this, and people are like, well, then what about your guns? What about if your guns take labor? And it's like, yeah, it takes labor to make a gun.
Yeah, you don't get a free gun.
You don't get a free gun. You just have the right to own one. And so I'm like trying to explain this like you would to a 5-year-old. And also, like, you got to roll it back because what people don't understand is we have human rights, like things that are inalienable that you deserve, and like the Second Amendment enshrines the right to own firearms, but essentially what the amendment is actually doing is protecting the human right to self-defense. You have a right to defend yourself against an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have things like natural rights. So, like in a society, we have, because the other one that kept getting pointed out was right to a fair trial. It's like that is a societal or a natural right where we are willing to go in and serve on a jury, because the idea being that when we need a jury, we will also have people that are willing to serve.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a human right. You don't have a human right to trial. In the jungle,
societal right. Yeah.
Yeah. In the jungle, if someone's like, hey, you stole my shit, and they have a pointier stick than you are fucking dead. Well, basically what it comes down to. And then you have them
God-given rights,
Yeah. And then people will like have created these positive rights where the government owes you free healthcare, and these rights to, like, abortion is a human right and marriage is a human right. And it's like, I mean, I guess like partnering with someone is a human right, but getting the government to recognize your partnering is really kind of an irritating fucking thing that we have to deal with.
Well, so it's not a human right. It's completely not a human right. Marriage is not a human right. It's a sacrament. It's right spelled R-I-T-E, not R-I-G-H-T. Like it's a right in terms of it's sacramental. It's been bastardized into a legal right or like a legal. It's not even it's not even a right. Like it's a privilege, I guess. Like I had a fight over this before I left Canada because I was trying to get my passport renewed, and I contacted the passport office, and you had to come in person and you had to show that you were traveling somewhere because it was right during COVID because you had to book an appointment. And I was like, no, listen, like I'm a Canadian citizen. It's my right to have a passport. And she corrected me and she said, no, it's not a right to have a passport. It's a privilege to have a passport. I was like,
well, it's a privilege to not have me bash your fucking Canadian head in, you dumb bitch. Give me the fucking passport or there's going to be some fucking problems. This is your job. You fucking do it. I fucking hate when government employees tell you that something's a privilege. You don't have a right to drive. It's a privilege. Yeah, I'm going to drive this fucking car right over your fucking little motorcycle, you piece of shit motorcycle cop fuck. I don't care. I don't give a shit if you have a wife and kids and a family. I hate you more than the fucking United Healthcare CEO. I'd round up all your motherfucking cop friends and fucking put them all in a fucking meat grinder and spray your fucking blood and guts all over a hillside to grow a fucking field of daisies, you son of a bitch. You fucking work for me. I want to drive fucking fast on the highway. You can go straight the fuck to hell and take your fucking wife and kids with you, you motherfucker. Government employees telling me that something's a privilege makes me want to just fucking Timothy McVeigh the shit out of everything.
Deliver my Christmas presents, you bastards.
No kidding. So I'm trying to like explain human rights to someone like you would a child, because like the difference between a human right and a societal right is if you're alone on a desert island, what do you have rights to? You have a right to say whatever the fuck you want. You have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to your property. Anything that you're like,
you have those rights. You have those rights. Like we don't even have that right of free speech.
Yeah.
Like I don't have that right. I have it here, but I didn't have it in Canada. And if I step foot back there, then we're gonna have problems.
So when we like developed villages, what ended up happening is because you also have a right to commerce, a right to trade with one another.
Yeah.
So like if El Chaco, he makes some really fucking great pointy sticks. He just makes the best pointy sticks, but he's kind of shit at throwing the pointy sticks at stuff. So even though he's making good pointy sticks, they're not really landing. Meanwhile, me, totally dog shit at making pointy sticks. But I'm a great thrower. Yeah. Yep. And it's like, hey, you know what? If I had your pointy sticks, I could probably get way more stuff than either one of us would get if I'm wasting all my time making pointy sticks and you're wasting your time throwing them at nothing. And so why don't you give me some pointy sticks and I'll give you some meat off of my, whatever I kill.
Yeah, we'll work something out.
And so I have the right to my property. And but then so everyone starts hearing like, oh, El Chaco's got these great pointy sticks. We all want some El Chaco pointy sticks. And so then the tribal elders come in like, all right, El Chaco, you're making pointy sticks for all of us. It's like, no. I ain't making shit.
Yeah, because then you're a slave all of a sudden.
These are my fucking pointy sticks.
Well, and the other thing is that like you might be a good pointy stick thrower, but like then John Doe down the street, like he heard about my pointy sticks, but it's like, hey, I don't like John Doe because he kicked my dog that other time, and so fuck John Doe. I don't want to give him any of my. I don't want his meat. I don't want any of those things. I just don't want to deal with him. But you don't have the right to deny him that service because John Doe is a part of a protected class or something that you can't decide not to do business with. Or what if I bake cakes and I don't want to make a cake for you? Like that's
what people are fundamentally not understanding is that it's not like what the Second Amendment is doing is one, it's enshrining the ability to self-defense and protect yourself, but it's another level of enshrining your right to property. I have the right to own a firearm. I have a right to my pointy stick. I
codified.
I'm not asking to be given free pointy sticks. I'm not saying that the government should issue us all guns. It's the ownership. And like these people that don't understand their rights, that think that these positive rights are also human rights, seem to not be able to determine that it's it's not a right to have a gun. It's a right to be the owner of one. And it's the same way you have a right to own your property, and you can't be deprived of property without due process. And so it's like, it's
Which could
again,
take
it's a
2 years in my case.
yeah, it's a cultural Rorschach thing where, like, the mere fact that through your lens you think guns are bad, you have completely twisted and misunderstood what these things are for. And so, and you create rights out of nothing that you feel that should be given to you on, for benefit of being a human.
Well, the key thing there is property rights. They don't believe in them. Like there's
Yeah.
there's like a good enough portion of our culture and our society that has no clue what property rights mean,
Because they don't have any.
or they are envious and believe that somehow if you magically waive property rights out of existence, that all property becomes everybody's, and that's just straight up communism.
Yeah.
And and like there's that whole thing about when because like you call somebody like a commie or a pinko commie bastard or something like that, right? And like it's like it's kind of a boomerang insult to say, but in a lot of cases it's accurate.
Yeah.
Because we're like, free healthcare is A, not free, and B is is communism. Like,
Yeah.
I come from a country that has quote unquote free healthcare. It's not. You have to pay through the nose in taxes. You have to pay through the nose and all these other things. You do have, they call them, like they don't like the term when you call it a death panel, but like they have a panel of people who decide whether or not you get the procedure or not, because they approve it or not. Like my mom needs a knee replacement and she's on a waiting list to get that done. Now they're doing this economic calculation of her age, her contribution to the economy at this point in her life, blah, 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 blah. And they just decide, no, not right now. And then on the other side of it, because you don't have a right to take your business elsewhere and get it done. I mean, yeah, you could fly to the US and pay for it there
Directly.
but it's going to be so expensive because you've got the health insurance racket that drives up the prices of everything. You don't have a real, you have no real idea of what the value of these things are. So when you claim that it's a right, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know, you don't even know what the value of the thing is in the first place to even begin to have that conversation.
Healthcare is one of those things that's completely misunderstood. And one of the conversation coming out of the United Healthcare CEO getting killed in that, oh, we need to go to single payer right now. And it's like, single payer is not the issue. It's this like health insurance. And I've talked about this before on the show. Health insurance is this weird thing where you're not really the customer for your own health insurance in the United States. You are trapped into whatever provider based on who you work for and what kind of deal they've gotten and what kind of offerings they're willing to get. So you're not even like really a direct customer. And then the insurance company is, like all businesses, wants to maximize income and minimize payouts. So they try and find all these little loopholes.
Yeah.
And then the hospitals, knowing that the insurance company is going to dick them around for every dollar, just says, yeah, this bottle of ibuprofen cost $100, so that when the insurance company comes back and they're like, we're not paying $100 for that bottle of ibuprofen, like, fuck it, will you pay 50? Yeah, we'll pay 50. It's like, okay, cool, it's $50 then. And it's like you can buy a bottle of 100 ibuprofen for $4 or something.
It's the whole $200 hammer or $500 stapler thing all over again.
So it's all inflated, and the person like actually being cared for is so divorced from the process. But the solution isn't to make it a single payer or create it to be a human right, because it's not a human right, because it takes years to become a doctor and to get all of these things. And now you're just like, you need to work for the public good, my friend, like a policeman or a firefighter. And look at what pieces of shit police officers are.
Well, that's the other thing is like the system goes even further, because you need to pay this much money over this many years You have to have this high of a GPA. You need to meet these quota markers all along just to become a doctor, just to practice medicine, to have a license to practice medicine in the first place. Like none of this is on the up and up. Everything is close. Dude, I went to go get my teeth cleaned today. Right. I went to go get my teeth cleaned today. Now in Canada, because I didn't have insurance for dental, right? So in order to go get my teeth cleaned, like every time I go is like $375, $400 just to go get my teeth cleaned. You know how much it cost me to go down to Paraguay and go get it done today? It was like
$50,
40 Canadian dollars. Like it was like 28 bucks American, right? And she did a fantastic job, right? And it's like, and then I was like, wait, that's all it costs? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, when was the last time you came? I'm like, or to get this done? I'm like, I don't know, like 2.5 years ago. And like, I don't, and before that was when I was in Canada. She's like, you should come every 6 months. I'm like, dude, I might come here every week at this point. Like, if that's what it's going to cost, come on. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of defending these like basic inalienable rights. You know, and in the Bill of Rights, you know, there's ones like you can't be forced to quarter soldiers, right? And that one's like very 1776, not a problem in the modern day. But essentially, what it's saying is you can't be forced to give up your property. You can't be. The government can't come to you and be like, "Hey, you got to put up these FBI agents. They got to go do this thing on the 6th, but they're going to need to stay in your house for a couple of weeks for this Airbnb thing."
Well, and don't they do that though? Don't they like commandeer things? Is that just a movie thing?
Well, they can, but there are definitely loopholes.
Or it's like your house is like
things without
near where the airport wants to expand, or like they want to put a highway through where your community
eminent
is.
domain.
Like, yeah, I hate that.
But they're supposed to give you the market value of what the thing is. But then they do things like use the weather machine to destroy Asheville and then say, your land's worth nothing. We're going to eminent domain it at this post natural disaster level, which is pennies on the dollar, so that you can get the fuck out of here.
And we can get that lithium mine up and running.
Yeah. But like free speech is another one that people are always, well, it's only the government that can't fuck with you for free speech. I'm like, yeah, but the government should be protecting us from anyone trying to fuck with our free speech. There's fucking Sarah Huckabee Sanders, whatever her fucking name is. She's got a bill in Arkansas right now to create an FTC department that'll look for harmful language on social media and then improvise fines and things and put basically, you know, Facebook and YouTube in charge of the language that comes out of their platforms. And it's like, this is a First Amendment violation. This should be like the fact that you submitted this, people should come to your home right now and take you straight the fuck to prison for treason. Straight the fuck to prison. And just put you in a cage and lock the door and go, you're fucking violating your constituents' rights. You live in this cage now. Welcome to the fucking rape area.
Well, it's the same as like going back to like if I'm sharpening sticks and you're wanting to buy my sticks, that all of a sudden the chief of the village is like, hang on, we got this invisible cough and you can't have anybody over to your own property anymore because we're going to restrict that movement. Man, like I think the whole concept of rights is so cloudy right now that nobody knows what is what.
I think that's intentional. I
of course it is.
They've poisoned
demonic
by pretending all of these things are human rights and to, you know, basically get it to the point where it's like, if we give you enough free stuff, you'll give up on the ones that really matter, like the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, free speech and right to own firearms and right to be secure in your homes and right to not illegal searches and seizures, which we have totally fucking given up on that one, where it's like, I'm gonna fly, we get to x-ray all your shit, and if we like what we see in the pictures, we're gonna dig through it, and if one of our employees steals some shit, well, tough luck.
Well, it's one of these days I want to bring in legalese as an issue, because like Black's Laws Dictionary, like words that we know don't mean the same in a legal standing.
Yeah.
And like even just the word understand, right? Like, you know, do you understand? Like if I say, do you understand? You're like, yeah, I comprehend what you're talking about. Yeah, I get it. But like there's like a legal definition of understand. It's to stand under someone. So like you say, yeah, I understand. It's like, you're under arrest. You know, like there's like some weird wordplay that goes on. And one of the ones that like going back to this, like what is a right, what is not a right? Like going back to COVID, they're like, no. Oh, it's like, for example, like this is an emergency use authorization. It's not an approval. It's an emergency use authorization. This is it's not a law. It's not even but it's a bylaw. It's not a bylaw. It's a mandate. It's a mandate. You know, it's like, but which one supersedes what? Like, you know, where I'm looking at my.
It's not a law, it's a regulation. These regulators came up with this rule, and now we're gonna need you to do what we say. And it's like, but it's not a law. It's like, well, you can either follow this or challenge it in court and spend the next 2 years hoping that you get up to the Supreme Court and hoping that the people there don't just fuck around on their job and go, an appeal for an obvious non-murder? No thanks. We're not going to hear that one. You could go to hell.
Well, like, so in Canada, Justin Trudeau's father drafted something in the 80s. Pierre.
Oh, stepfather.
Yeah. Fidel. Yeah. Stepfather. His stepfather, he drafted something called the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Right there, it's in the word, right? It's in the title, rights and freedoms. But see, and it's like this whole thing, it's written out about all these great things that you're supposed to have as a Canadian. But there's this like one line in there, the notwithstanding clause. And the notwithstanding clause makes the whole rest of it a piece of trash, just a piece of paper with no meaning, no nothing. Because if it's not binding, if it's not executable, then it's nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what we learned during COVID, because there were rights in there such as freedom of movement, freedom of commerce, freedom of those. No, all those thrown out the window because of this notwithstanding clause that they dragged up. And like you could challenge it, but like you said, good luck getting that into court. And then like you get it into the court and then the court's backed up because COVID reasons. And then all of a sudden, when it comes up like 3 years later and they've taken the mandate off, the judge goes,
we got rid of that anyway.
Yeah, we got rid of it. It's moot. They literally use the word moot. It's moot. Yeah. M-O-O-T, just like T-O-O-D, Todd. Yeah. And it's moot. So you can't. So we're just going to throw this out. And it's like, where's my justice? Like you've taken all these things from me and you've harmed me in so many ways. That's moot. Sorry, not going to deal with it. And
it's why I think they should try all these like Anthony Fauci and for fucking crimes against humanity, so that there's some legal rulings that say this shit can't happen again. You cannot do this shit again. You try and pull this shit again, and people are going straight to federal ass rape prison.
But it won't happen again.
It won't happen
again. And then like people are bringing up, what was the thing that came out of World War II? You can't experiment on people.
The Geneva Convention?
No, it was something else. It was the not the Geneva Convention, but it's like you can't do this. There was some decision. It was what was the name of the court or that trial? Nuremberg. That's right. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's the Nuremberg Code, right? It's like Nuremberg Code. It's like, okay, first off, do your research on what happened at Nuremberg, and secondly, and protect your balls while you're at it. And secondly, nobody's going to do anything about it, because that was, we won, you lost, we're punishing you, right? And in this case, you're not going to get your justice because they won, you lost, they took it from you. They don't care. Small business owners, they hate you. They can close you up whenever they want you to, where they want to, and on this, and we're not going to deliver your products anymore because all those taxes you pay into a postal service, that doesn't matter anymore. We don't do that anymore. Okay, you're gonna give me a rebate on my taxes? No, I'm not gonna give you a refund or anything like that for that. Like, no, it's still the same. We'll just divert it into I don't know, paying for abortion lawyers in like Papua New Guinea or something. Like, it's just ridiculous. But
I
yeah,
think that's the like it's obvious. I mean, the founders of the United States were clearly extremely intelligent, extremely well-read people, and they, I think if they could look through a lens into the present day and go like, oh, this shit that we kind of took for granted, like we need a lot more fucking amendments than just 10. Because the way the other
are there
thing
only
that people-
10?
Yeah, well, there are more. It started out with 10. The Bill of Rights, when the Constitution was ratified in 1793, was only 10 amendments. And the 10th Amendment was any rights not defined in this document are reserved to the states or the people therein. Right? It was that kind of their blanket one.
Right.
And because like things like right to property isn't specifically said in there. It's but people think that like, oh, the Second Amendment gives you a right to bear arms. The First Amendment gives you a right to free speech. Like, no. Read it. Read the way that it's phrased. Congress shall make no law in abridging the freedom of speech or the press. Blah 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 blah. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Like it's not it's a negative document, right? It's not telling you, hey, you have the right to free speech. It's saying, hey, government, you cannot fucking do this. You cannot do this. And we need a lot more of them. We need a lot more of them to say, you don't get to fucking do this shit. Income tax, not fucking allowed.
It isn't. It isn't allowed.
Banned off of Twitter, straight to jail.
Man, that's the thing. Like the whole justice system is such a wacky thing. It's like, again, like going back to my thing. I won my case. It definitively. There is no hole in it. It's definitive. The Supreme Court of Paraguay has stated my rights as a landowner, and yet they're still going to appeal it. So their right to appeal trumps my right to exercise my victory in the court.
Yeah.
At this moment, and so they're like, I can't kick them out. I can't go over there with a bulldozer. My dad jokes about a bulldozer all the time, about just bulldozing their houses and going, oh, sorry, gotta go.
The bulldozer turned on and it's just barreling towards your house and I fell out.
They went away, like, to go and file their appeal. They had to go into the capital of my state. And, I said to my friend, I was like, man, what's stopping me from just taking their like roof sheets off, taking all their items, putting them by the road, pushing everything over there, and just like moving the fence line while they're gone? And it's like, am I going to get like a fine?
What are they going to do?
Yeah, I'll appeal it.
Out of our house. Your house is on his land.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'll appeal that.
Determined in this pre-existing court case, you motherfuckers. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have. Education has completely failed us. Nobody knows what their rights are. They don't understand the difference between rights. It's this big mucky mess of stuff to just confuse everyone and to pretend that we have one thing when we don't, and to take away what you do have. And I'm really rethinking the 19th Amendment.
I was going to bring up the 19th.
That's kind of outside of this, but yeah,
but I love
14th, 19th, 15th, 20th. The one about prohibition definitely needs to go. We need to get rid of some of them and put in some new ones. You have a right to mind your own fucking business and stop talking.
And I guarantee you, Elon's not going to ice any of those, even though those are inefficient. Yeah. But good issue, man. Good issue.
Thank you. Do you have you want to do a short one real quick?
Yeah, it's going to be real short, but I feel like the people who are still watching are going to feel this one. Yeah. So here's what I don't get. Taylor Swift. Don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get Taylor Swift at all. I got told she was like she's not just a billionaire, but like she's like pressing like multi-billionaire. And like I heard that her ticket prices are through the roof. Like we're talking like $1,000 for like up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
Like, and these women, they go, they love it. They pay for it. They say they know all the words to the songs. And I can only name one song by her, and that's Shake It Off. And that's only because I had a wrestler with that song. I maybe, okay, isn't there like, is Bad Blood, is that her song or Never Ever?
That was Beyonce.
Okay, yeah. So again, I don't care. They all blend together.
Yeah.
They all blend together. All I
I-
see is I never see videos of her singing. I just see photos of her. It's the same pose, same dresses, same heels, same no ass, and like the same thing every time. And I just don't understand it. And then Justin Trudeau, and I think I brought this up.
I think we talked about
yeah.
this where he's a big Taylor Swift fan and he was at her
Huge
concert, too.
Swiftie, and he was like handing out friendship bracelets. They named a street after her. She's not Canadian. She like the biggest thing she's ever done is, I don't know, had a concert there. And it's like, what is going on? Why all of a sudden, like, the other thing that I don't get about her is like they claim she has this pull, but like didn't win the election. Didn't win the election. I'm still not watching football. Like who cares? Like,
yeah, I saw she just finished a tour and it was like her tour had a million billion people come see it. And it was like 1 in every 1,000 people went to see her tour this last time through. And I was like, there is no fucking way. Cause like I know women that like Taylor Swift, but I don't think I know anybody that went and saw her tour.
Well, like this is the sad part about the music industry. What's the biggest concert you ever saw? Like biggest name and biggest draw that you ever saw? Biggest concert, like attendance wise, you ever saw?
I mean, there was a bunch when I was running the arena that were in like the 10 to 12,000.
Okay, but like as a paying customer, it
was probably Rush, and then I think that was probably 10,000 people.
Okay. And like I don't want to count like music festivals because those don't count and they're hard to count because there's like multiple stages and stuff like that. But
yeah.
Like I would say probably the biggest concert I ever saw was like U2. And I saw them during the Pop Mart tour like in 1997. And it was like in a football stadium. It was huge. It was massive. And like I'm not a U2 fan now, but at the time I dug it. It was, I was in high school. Give me a break. And it was massive. It was a bigger than life event. Like their stage was huge, their screens were huge. They had enough hits to carry a whole night. Like people knew all the words. It was a great time.
Yeah.
And like they're still doing their thing. They're doing like the Sphere and stuff in Vegas. They're doing all that kind of stuff. The Rolling Stones, my mom's seen them I think twice. And like those are the big names, but like is that the best we've got? Is that what this generation has got? Is that the best we've got is Taylor Swift? Like Taylor Swift, that's the best we've got. Like, I bet she could fill a 90,000 seat venue. Like, I think she probably
I have no doubt.
She probably could. I don't know how, but she could.
Well, every girl's got to drag her boyfriend along and 17 friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like Taylor Swift, the reason why her concerts are so big is because it's like going to the bathroom. You got to go with all your girlfriends.
Well, that's like my wife saw Madonna in Vancouver with her friends. She's not a big Madonna fan. I mean, I think she had like the Madonna like greatest hits, like the Immaculate Collection or something like that. And she was like, it was all right. It was all right. Like before he died, Michael Jackson announced a tour. And that was one of those ones where I was like, I really want to go see Michael Jackson. That would be on the list. There's not that many, but it's like, and I'm not like a huge Michael Jackson fan, but I appreciate the talent.
He's got some bangers.
Oh, does he ever? Does he ever? Like Michael Jackson's one of those artists that you could play in any country in the whole world and people will jam to it. Like that's how good Michael Jackson is. And like, I guess so like who's left? Like AC/DC still sells, I don't know, or Metallica, or
I don't know why.
I don't know.
Those guys are like 97.
I know, but that's like this is the death knell. And Taylor Swift is the sign of the times. Because who's next after this? Because most of these, the fact that she's still around, I remember when she got that award. She used to be a country singer, and then she crossed over and she got an award, and then like Kanye came up on stage and snatched, like wanted to go, like
Oh,
say that
yeah,
she
yeah,
didn't deserve the award. Beyonce had a better video or something like that, like pulling a Kanye.
I do remember that.
Yeah, that was in 2010 or 2009.
I think it was
It was like
2009.
15 or 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So she was already in the business for years. Like, how old is she now? She's like 40 now.
Those eggs are drying up, my friend.
They're gone. They're gone. And she's got pet babies, I'm sure. But I don't understand. I don't understand. And that's my issue. Taylor Swift, what the hell is going on with this?
100% on board with you. I'm baffled.
Perplexed. I'm just, I don't get it. All right. It's Taylor Swift.
Well, this has been Here's What I Don't Get. Until next time, I'm Tab Burt.
I'm El Chaco.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call into the Here's What I Don't Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can visit us on the Discord under voicemail upload and post your ones there. We've got a few here from the voicemail hotline since our last episode.
All right.
Yeah, so what I don't get is not knowing the name or what, like, the name of something is that's kind of like an everyday item. Like, for example, a while ago I had my garbage disposal replaced by the apartment people, and I come back, I'm looking down, I'm like, there's something missing, and it was missing the little black rubber thing. And I was like, well, fuck, I don't even know what the hell to Google. So you do the black rubber thing in garbage, and then come to find out it's a splash guard. And you're like, well, fuck, how can I, like, that makes sense. Why didn't I know that? And then more recently today, going to Target, and at the time I didn't know, but they're called drip pans for your stove. It's, you know, if you have a coil stove, it's those metal pans that are underneath it. That makes perfect sense. That would catch the drips of whatever you're cooking. And yeah, it's just because I go in there, but can't find it. So I was like, all right, let's see if it's in stock. And then again, it's, well, fuck, what the hell are those stupid things called? And yeah, it's just little stupid things like that make me feel real stupid sometimes.
Oh, my brother, I feel you.
Yeah, it's like when you read a word a bunch of times, and then you have to say it, and you're like, "Oh, I have no fucking idea how this is pronounced." Like I know what the word is, I know what it means. I read it in books, but boy, if I had to say this out loud, it's not going well.
See, down here, there's two things here. Down here, first off, I have friends who basically learned English by watching movies and reading books, and so it always like makes me chuckle when they like mispronounce an English word, and I have to like tilt my head and be like, what are you trying to say? And it's like something simple, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not pronounced that way. You know, like with Spanish it's a lot easier because like basically if you can read it, you know how it sounds, because like A's sound like ah and O's sound like oh, and whereas English, I'll cut you some slack. But there's no like Lowe's, there's no Home Depot, there's nothing like that down here. Well, there's one place, but it's not near me, Ferrex. But so if I need a part, or if I need some materials or something for a project around the house, I go to these hardware stores, but there's no aisles. Everything's kind of in the back, and you have to tell them what you want, and they have to wait there for a while, though they go around and find it. Whereas like if I was going to a Home Depot, I might not know a splash guard is, but I'll go into that section and kind of look around for the thing that looks like it, and then I'm like, oh, that's what I'm looking for, and that's easy. But down here, I have to use ChatGPT because Google Translate won't even help me. You know, like I have to look up on ChatGPT and be like, what's this called in Paraguay? Because Paraguayan Spanish is different than Mexican Spanish, which is different than Spain Spanish. And so like they'll have words for these things, and they always make me chuckle because you're like, oh, that's what they call that here. I can't off of the top of my head remember some of them, but I'll text you some later and leave the listeners hanging. But yeah, good issue, brother.
I got another one here.
Here's what I don't get. This election, I didn't vote. Everybody seems to be cool just asking me who I voted for. And I tell them I didn't vote. And to them, that's like the biggest problem for them in the world. And I'm talking about liberals, but I'm guessing Republicans would probably do the same thing if they didn't win the election. But I've literally had probably 3 or 4 people tell me that, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault. Motherfucker. 90 million people voted, I don't know the actual number, for the other guy. It's not my fucking fault. I didn't want to vote. I don't know anything about politics. And also, I don't care, and I don't like either of the candidates. So what am I going to do? Go vote for Gary Johnson? For what? For fun? I'm not going to go stand in line to vote for somebody who I know doesn't have a shadow of a chance to win. But anyway, yeah, I don't know why people think I'm the biggest Hitler on planet Earth because I decided to not participate in the sham that is democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, great issue. Brought that one in before. I feel you. And also, that also is a cultural Rorschach test.
Yeah. I've had the same treatment from people where I was like, no, I'm not even registered. I do not care. And they're like, well, what about you? What about the little sheriff and your judges and your this? And it's like, I do not give a shit. Not my fucking problem.
Won't matter. My vote won't matter.
Yeah. And some people get really fucking mad about it. And they're like, you're not taking place. Your democracy, it's your civic duty. And I was like, yeah. As soon as I start getting something out of this government, I'll maybe start thinking about trying to chip in. But as long as they're just stealing my fucking money and sending it to places where I don't want it to fucking go, I really don't fucking give a shit. And no matter who I vote for, they're going to steal my money and send it to somewhere I don't want it to go. You know what I want? Paved streets. You know what I still don't have? Paved streets. One last one.
Sure.
Here's what I don't get. Somebody stuck a large anchovy and semen pizza in my mailbox. Had a note on it that to the guy that calls in to here's what I don't get with the weird voice. So I don't know why it was in my box. Regardless, whoever's pizza it is, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Ew.
I threw it away. This is disgusting.
Okay. Thank you.
Smelled awful. You certainly don't need to leave any voicemails about it. Okay, toodles.
I feel bad for that homeless guy who just wants a pizza. You just can't get it.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Andy. It was probably an Emo's pizza because I know he's from the St. Louis area, and St. Louis had this is like, I don't know if this is a cultural thing down here, but so in St. Louis, what they love to do is they like to take genres of food that are great, and they take them and they add their own twist to it, and it takes it from great to just the worst dog shit you've ever fucking eaten. Just like would not feed it to a fucking political prisoner levels. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you people?
Oh man, that like when you look up how people do different foods, like for example, sometimes it works. When I went to Sweden with my wife in 2011, they had a hot dog stand, but Swedish hot dogs, they're not the hot dogs that you know, right? Because what's a hot dog? It's a wiener and a bun.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're a real stickler about it, it's no ketchup. It's like mustard, maybe sauerkraut, onions, and relish. Right. But in Sweden, it's like a flatbread for the bun, mashed potatoes, the hot dog, the wiener, and then like lettuce and stuff on top of it. Sounds disgusting, is amazing. Like it was fantastic. It's not a hot dog. Call it something else.
Yeah.
but
it's our word, Sweden.
It's fantastic.
You can't use our word.
But I thought that was bad until I found out what Brazil did to pizza.
Oh.
You got to hear this. So Brazil, what they did to pizza is they've got the crust, but is there tomato sauce? No. There's no tomato sauce unless you count ketchup as tomato sauce. and mayonnaise and corn. And corn.
No.
Yeah.
Italy needs to invade.
You know, man, like, what was Spain thinking? They should have cut Portugal off before they crossed the ocean. They'd be like, you guys can stay here. Because, like, yeah, when I go to Brazil, it pisses me off all the time because they're surrounded by Spanish-speaking countries. I can't speak a lick of Portuguese. I can't understand it. It sounds like somebody's speaking in Russian with like their mouth full of like napkins. And like I can't understand a word. I can read it, but I can't hear it and understand it. And I hate it. And there's so much cool stuff in Brazil I want to see, but I'm like not a good traveler. My wife likes she's got no problem with traveling to places where you can't understand anybody. And I'm like, yeah, but see, I'm the one when we went to the Airbnb who had to like push the like thing to like talk to the security guard to get us let into the building. And I had no idea even how to speak. Like I'm looking at the Google Translate. I'm trying to pronounce it like I would like Paraguayan Spanish. Doesn't work. Like they're just completely lost on me. And like, I'm afraid if I go there, I'm going to go to a restaurant. I'm going to try to order something and they're going to hand me this horrible pizza. You know, like I don't want to have any of that.
Can't risk it.
No, thank you. It could be, what was it? Anchovies and semen.
Anchovies and semen. It actually sounds a step up from this ketchup mayo corn bullshit.
I think maybe that's like an Israeli pizza or something. But anyway, so yeah, that's a good call, man.
Yeah.
Shall we wrap it up?
That's our voicemail. Thanks for calling. Call and leave us one. Thanks for listening.
Have a happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, happy
And,
New Year, Merry Christmas. Hope your 2025 is better than your 2024.
Catch you in January, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. God bless.
See ya.